But there is a ban on a city which we have destroyed, that they the residents shall not return until Gog and Magog are let through their barrier. And they swiftly swarmed down from every height or spread out in every direction. Quran, Al-Anbiya, 21, 95-6. When Gog and Magog have been released and, in addition, have descended from every height, or have spread out in every direction, then at that time the people of the town, who were punished by Allah Most High, and banished from their town or city which was destroyed by Allah Most High, would now be brought back to that town or city. There is only one such town or city which was destroyed by Allah, which is mentioned in the hadith pertaining to Gog and Magog, and it is Jerusalem. The following hadith makes mention of Gog and Magog passing by the Sea of Galilee, which is in the Holy Land. Narrated Al-Nawas ibn Salman. It will be under such conditions that Allah will reveal to Jesus these words: have brought forth from among my servants such people against whom none will be able to fight. You take these people safely to Tor, and then Allah will send Gog and Magog, and they will swarm down from every slope. The first of them will pass the lake of Tiberias, the Sea of Galilee, and drink out of it. And when the last of them passes, he will say, there was once water there. Sahih Muslim. When Gog and Magog pass by the Sea of Galilee, they would proceed to Tor mountain mentioned in another hadith as a mountain in Jerusalem. Gog and Magog would walk until they reached the mountain of Al-Qamar, and it is a mountain of Beit al-Maqdis, Jerusalem. Sahih Muslim. Since no other town or city destroyed by Allah Most High other than Jerusalem is mentioned in the hadith pertaining to Gog and Magog, we have come to the conclusion that the town or city mentioned in Surah Al-Anbiya verses 95 and 96 above can only be Jerusalem. From this conclusion and identification of the town or city now emerges the implication that the return of the Jews to the Holy Land, which has already happened, is the dramatic and concrete evidence that the barrier has been brought down by Allah Most High, and that we live in the age of Gog and Magog, and we thus live in the last age. But the more important implication of the return of the Jews to the city Jerusalem and the establishment of the state of Israel is that Gog and Magog Avenue now fulfilled that stage of their mission referred to in Surah Al-Anbiya 21-96, that is, they have descended from every height or spread out in every direction, and have taken control of the world. The world order which brings the Jews back to the Holy Land is that of Gog and Magog. Who are they? Our method of study must be to look for a people who display, in their obsessive relationship with the Jews and the Holy Land, a strange difference in their behavior prior to the Holy Prophet Alayhi al-Salam when compared with their behavior after the time of the Prophet Alayhi al-Salam. A strange European obsession with the Holy Land. When Abraham Alayhi al-Salam made Hijra to the Holy Land, and Babylon, Persia, Egypt and China had great civilizations, and the Greek and Roman empires had not as yet emerged, Europe lived largely as wild tribes. There was little or no trade with the rest of the civilized world. In consequence of this peculiar isolation, the rest of the world could not understand European languages, nor could Europe ever play any role as an actor on the stage of the world. The Quran referred in Surah Al-Kahf to this unique European characteristic when Dhul Qarnayn embarked on his third journey and came upon a people whose language could not be understood. Surah Al-Kahf 18-93. A strange and mysterious revolution overtook Europe. Pagan Greek and Roman civilizations emerged, and they immediately and strangely embarked upon the conquest of as much of the rest of the world as could be conquered. Both Greek and Roman European civilizations seemed to have a special interest in the Holy Land. Alexander the Great conquered Jerusalem and evinced an interest in Judaism, and the Roman Empire ruled over Jerusalem and the Holy Land up to the time of Jesus Alayhi al-Salam and even after that. Secondly, there was no abiding fidelity to their gods and goddesses and to the pagan way of life. Rather, Pagan beliefs were eventually unceremoniously discarded in the same strange way that they had been embraced centuries earlier. Then a strange European embrace of Christianity for essentially political reasons resulted in the emergence of the Euro-Christian Church, with Rome as the center of a new church. It was Christianity that brought much of the remaining part of Europe out of the wild tribe stage of its history and united Europe as Christendom. The new Christian church was so emphatic about its independence from the old Christianity that it even appointed its own date for commemorating the birth anniversary of Jesus alayhi al-Salam. The new European Christmas was celebrated on December 25th. But Euro-Christianity differed significantly and mysteriously from the old Orthodox Christianity of Byzantium. As soon as the new Christian church had consolidated its hold over Europe, it proceeded to display an obsession for the Holy Land unmatched by any other Christians. The Crusades were not just Christian, rather, they were Euro-Christian. They were launched one after another against the Muslims in a futile effort to wrest control over the Holy Land. A short-lived European liberation of the Holy Land was brought to an unceremonious end when Sultan Salahuddin defeated the Christian Crusaders and recovered Muslim control over the Holy Land. What was most significant about the Crusades was that it was exclusively European, even though the European Crusaders had to pass through the territory of the Byzantine Christians. Non-European Christians did not join the Europeans, and hence played no part in the Crusades. This book poses the question: why this strange Euro-Christian obsession with the Holy Land? Secondly, when the European Crusaders did succeed in wresting control over Jerusalem from the Muslims for a brief period, they perpetrated a bloodbath that was ominously unchristian. They slaughtered all the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Not even women and children were spared. The Christian world was horrified by the barbarism and savagery of an ostensibly Christian European people who had embarked on a religious and spiritual quest to liberate the Holy Land. It certainly appeared as though the cloak of Christianity had been donned by Europe as an act of expediency and convenience rather than as an act of faith. The Crusades revealed a frightful, ruthless, godless, amoral face of Europe. It was more essentially godless than it was Christian, and it was more constituted of wild tribes than of civilized people. As time passed by, also displayed an amazing capacity to conceal its true nature and to present itself as the opposite of what it really was. The attention that Muslims should have devoted to the study of this strange European phenomenon was strangely and mysteriously diverted when the Mongol invasions took place, and a wild and savage people, who behaved no differently from the Euro-Christians, terrorized the Muslim world. It is precisely because attention was not directed to the study of the strange emerging phenomenon in history that the world of Islam was unable to understand and explain the even stranger, more mysterious and more inexplicable revolution that transformed Europe from a medieval Christian civilization to an essentially godless, modern, secular Western civilization. That revolution also delivered to Europe a scientific and industrial revolution and a riba-based economic system that resulted in godless Europe becoming more powerful than the rest of the world combined and assuming the position of unchallenged and unchallengeable ruler of the world. In the new Europe, Britain, an insignificant island located about 1 month's journey by sea from the Holy Land, defied all European power equations to emerge as the leader of Europe and ruler of the world. But the new, essentially godless, ostensibly Christian, Europe displayed the same strange obsession for the Holy Land that was displayed by the old Christian crusading Europe. It proceeded to join hands with the essentially godless, ostensibly Jewish European Khazars in pursuing a continuing obsession with liberating the Holy Land. These two European people have remained locked together in a mystifying, unholy embrace ever since. It was the island of Britain that declared in what is known as the Balfour Declaration in 1917 that it would work for the establishment of a Jewish national homeland in Palestine. Britain proceeded just 2 years later to liberate the Holy Land from Gentile Muslim rule. This occurred in 1917 when the British general Allenby led an army to victory over the Turkish army that defended Jerusalem and the Holy Land. Where the old crusades, waged by an ostensibly Christian Europe, had failed, the new crusade, waged by a godless Europe, succeeded. Both the efforts to liberate Jerusalem and the Holy Land were European. Both were crusades. In fact, General Allenby himself confirmed this in his memorable declaration that he made when he entered Jerusalem as a conqueror. Today, the Crusades have ended. And so it is clear that the effort to liberate the Holy Land had nothing to do with religion. It had everything to do with that strange new actor on the stage of the world, that is, Europe. Britain then assumed control over the Holy Land as the mandate power under the cover of the League of Nations, and proceeded to pursue the goal of establishing that Jewish national homeland. This book poses the question, why this strange Euro obsession with the Holy Land by a Europe which had now embraced secularism and materialism and was only nominally Christian? If Europe's embrace of Christianity was something strange, then Europe's embrace of Judaism was stranger still.